Hi, I'm Sam Sherman. I've been in this industry a long time. I started when I was a kid, 16 or 15 years of age, and I'm still in it. I became involved with Beast of Blood in a long tale. I was always interested in horror films. I worked for James Warren at Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine, and as such, I had an interest in the subject. I met Erwin Pizer, the president of Hemisphere Pictures, and his partner Kane Lin in New York City, where they were distributing films they made in the Philippines with their third partner, Eddie Romero, war pictures such as Raiders of Leyte Gulf, Walls of Hell, The Ravagers. These films were hardly ever seen in the United States. They were mainly sold to the theatrical market overseas, where they were most successful, but they could not give them away in the United States. So I gave them a kind of a lecture as to what I suggested, and I brought in copies of Famous Monsters. I showed them all the promotion and all the things there, and I said, we'll help them, we'll give them articles. They had a picture called Walls of Hell, which was a great war film. Their salesman got an idea to take an old film that Kane Lin and Eddie Romero had made prior to Hemisphere called Terror is a Man and reissue it. So Kane Lin decided we'll change the title of it to Blood Creature. And Joe Ornstein, their salesman, said, we'll put it together as a double bill. Blood Creature and Walls of Hell. It's a great show. It's a sock show. He was a real old kind of a Broadway type, this Joe Ornstein. And he booked it into a Lowe's Theater in Trenton, New Jersey. Big, big indoor theater, probably gone now. And the thing went through the roof. And it showed them they wanted to start making horror pictures in the Philippines.
We can talk now, Lorca.
Kane Lin was a very interesting character. He was a World War II naval hero, fighter pilot. He was very gung-ho. He liked me a lot. He appreciated what I was doing. And he said to me, Sherman was sending you to Manila. We want you to be over there and head up the production unit of all our pictures we're making there. I said, Kane, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to Manila because I feel I'll be stranded there. I want to go to L.A., and make pictures out there with Al Adamson, which is what I did. But I kept working for Hemisphere way into the formation of Independent International, which I formed in 1968. I was still working for Hemisphere for 2 or 3 years. That didn't please my other partners. They said, you're here or you're there. How many companies are you with? I said, well, I'm not taking that much money out of this company. I'm trying to keep it alive. I don't want to bleed it. I don't want to lose all my clients I've had in the past. So I was involved with Hemisphere for a long time during the phase of the Blood Island pictures. The first one was called Brides of Blood. The second one was called Mad Doctor of Blood Island. And the third one was called Beast of Blood. Now, Beast of Blood was an odd kind of picture. It was less of a horror film than the other two. The other two were real horror films with elements that you have in horror pictures. But Beast of Blood was more of a James Bond action in the jungle type of picture because Bev Miller worked on it, a man by the name of Beverly Miller. He was a sub-distributor in Kansas City, Mercury Films, and he also represented Independent International as well as Hemisphere. And he liked going to the Philippines. He had been involved with these pictures. He'd been handling them locally. And he wrote Beast of Blood. And he wanted all the machine guns, and he put himself in as the old sea captain, and he's in there and in on the action. And I once had a still of him. I showed it to somebody who saw it there. I said, oh, yeah, I know him. He's a real old-timer. I said, no, he isn't. You're talking like he's an old-time actor. No, he isn't. He's a real old-timer in booking films. If you're in Kansas City, you couldn't possibly know him. But he looked like someone you should have known, and he was in that film. So he was the one that made it be the way it was. Now, he must have been psychic because he turned out to be right. Beast of Blood was the biggest hit of the 3 Blood Island films. for some reason, it just took off. They booked the film in New York City at the RKO circuit, and it did like $500,000 the first week, which was tremendous. And it put Hemisphere on the map. Hemisphere had been struggling for almost 10 years. That film put them on the map, and it done so much business that people were interested in taking them public, which never happened. But nonetheless, Beast of Blood was a, what should I call, a seminal work that was kind of important in Hemisphere's history to put them on the map at that time. So it was quite important. And the idea was the artwork was done in the Philippines. They had a lot of good comic artists over there, and that great piece of artwork of the monster holding its head was just sensational. Everybody loved that. It's an outstanding piece of artwork. As I said, Kane Lin came back from the Philippines with it. He had met a comic artist over there who did that for him, and it was an incredible, great piece. People ask me many times, what happened to the original painting? I have no idea. As I said to you, the third film in the Blood Island trilogy was the most successful. It was not called the Blood Island trilogy. The only thing that really linked the films was the fact that they were all set on Blood Island, a fictional island that Eddie Romero dreamt up. And we did a pretty good campaign, and I worked on all those campaigns. And the film was successful. And as these things happen, the Hemisphere Library ended up coming to my company by us buying out the backers of their company. It's one of these strange things.